it takes time for the winners to emerge, and it takes some time sometimes for companies to decide that this wasn't the best idea in the world.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever you may be listening. This is Latitude, the 43 North podcast. I'm Nate Benson. You know that now. I'm the digital media manager here at 43 North, and of course the host. And I'm joined this week by a man who we always see here in the incubator. He's always helping people, and that's a good thing. Jack McGowan. Jack, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Nate. How are you?
For the few folks who don't know you, why don't you give a brief synopsis of who you are, what you do, for the Buffalo startup community?
Sure. Jack McGowan. I work for Insight Consulting. Insight Consulting is a private, not-for-profit, economic development purposed consulting firm. We're in business to try to help establish and grow companies here in Western New York. We've been doing it for over 30 years.
Wow.
Big part of my job at Insight is I serve as the director of the Western New York Venture Association and the Buffalo Angels, which is a separate organization made up of private high net worth individuals who are interested in learning about potential investment opportunities and promising startups here in the region. So it's all about trying to get companies started, help them grow, do good things for the region. That's what my life's about.
And fortunately, we have one or two startups the Buffalo Angels are able to invest in, so to speak. We've got a budding crop of startups here in Western New York, huh?
We do. And I got to tell you, at the end of last year's 43 North, when I'm in down front in a pretty much filled Shays Buffalo theater, it really hit me because 25 years ago when I started doing this stuff, at the Western New York Venture Association meetings, we'd have 10 people in the room and guys doing crazy science experiments. Mm-hmm. So the progress that we've made as a startup community and the engagement has been fantastic. So it's a thrill to see what this community is doing, and 43 North has been a real focal point of that.
Now that you mentioned kind of the way things work, can you kind of elaborate just how different the landscapes are, 25, 30 years ago when you started Insight versus what we've seen in the last couple of years here? I mean, I think it's sometimes hard for people to understand just like how nothing was really happening from the startup sense.
Right. You could count on one hand the number of people that were involved in helping startups at that time, and we didn't have a lot of startup companies and entrepreneurs to work with either at that point. And it started to grow over time, but there really was within the last year there's been just a quantum leap and it's a combination of a lot of the new organizations coming up. Obviously 43 North, and then Launch New York, and Z80 Labs, and UB has just done a lot more in the area of entrepreneurship now, and others, and then obviously financial support from New York State has primed that pump a lot. So it's just been an amazing growth and turnaround. We still got a long way to go. Mm-hmm. People say, well, you must be just like overwhelmed with things that the investors are ready to invest in, and it takes a lot of time. But we're working at the front end of that funnel, and I think good things will continue to happen as we all keep working together.
And that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. Western New York. Despite some of our rusty exterior, on the interior, there's actually quite a bit of wealth in the area. And that wealth hasn't actually gone very far. A lot of people have been, holding it in and just, not really doing much with it. That's kind of where the Buffalo Angels come in. It lets people get that first sense of investing in companies, right?
That's right. Angel investing is not for everybody. It's a kind of a unique asset class, if you will. High risk, potentially high return.
Yeah, that was my question. Like, what's the differential between an angel investment versus, like your further institutional investment? Right.
So, angels are usually they're the first investment after the friends and family. So it's very early. The companies are they are continuing to refine sometimes the product. They may have started to generate some sales and are looking to scale, but sometimes we're even investing in companies that are pre-revenue. So the angels are there to provide money but they're also there to provide support as well. Hopefully, a good angel investor is someone who's got experience in business. They want to help see these companies grow. So they're, again, we're hoping to get good financial returns, but we're also looking to just try to help grow companies in the region. People enjoy business and startups, so most of our members are in it for the fun of it, as well as the opportunity to invest in what could be the next big thing.
And that's kind of a good thing for the startups looking for that angel investment. You've got a group of investors, the Buffalo Angels, who are kind of eager to start investing, right?
That's right. That's right. And we're unique too in that we're pretty much the only kind of open group, if you will. We've got a website, WNYventure.com, and we're always looking to bring in new members to be part of our group. They do need to be accredited investors. The Securities and Exchange Commission says you need to have a certain level of income or net worth, so that if some of these companies do go bad, your kids don't not go to school, or
the
you
kids
don't
still
lose,
get shoes,
you
right?
don't lose your house, right? That's pretty important. So there are some criteria there, but we make ourselves, angels can be tough to find. We try to make ourselves as easy to find as possible through being part of the community, through the website, through talking on things like this. We want people to know about us so that we can work with startups, help them prepare, so that when it is if they do come before our group, they're going to have the best chance of success as possible.
So someone's got a little bit of money, they've been a successful businessman or businesswoman, and have a little bit of a nest egg and want to get involved with the Buffalo Angels. At what point should they be maybe having that conversation, like, hey, I want to invest? Why should they invest, and when should they?
Sure. Well, I think the reason to join a group is because it's all about spreading the risk. You might say, what, I found this company and it sounds like it's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, so I'm going to write a $250,000 check. I mean, I'm putting it all on black, or I'm putting it all on red.
Yeah.
The reality is that most startups fail. So you do need to invest in a portfolio over time in relatively modest amounts, so that the winners, and hopefully the winners are going to win big, and they unfortunately have to pay for the losers. And if you can't build a diversified portfolio over time, and really share also the work involved in evaluating these companies and doing due diligence and sourcing deals, we do it all together as a group. So we make it pretty easy, and again we think it's fun too for somebody to start getting involved in angel investing.
Is it hard especially with some of the less experienced investors, those just starting out? Is it hard to convince them of that concept that, hey, 1 out of 10 startups succeed, so 9 times out of 10 we're going to be wrong, and that's okay? Like how do those conversations go, especially after a few losses and someone's like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. Well, knock on wood, we have had not too many losses so far.
Knock on wood, Buffalo's been
it takes time for the winners to emerge, and it takes some time sometimes for companies to decide that this wasn't the best idea in the world. But I mean, we're very upfront with folks. We make no promises. I mean, we kind of present some data, and really, again, people want to should be in it because they enjoy it. Our success is based on participation by the smart people in our group as well. We don't make an evaluation and say, here, we think you should invest in this company. We do due diligence, and we'll put together a summary report that kind of lays out the facts and the pros and cons. But each one of our members, makes their own decision, be it if they're a part of our fund. A majority of the members of the fund need to vote yes for the fund to make an investment, and then alongside that, individuals can invest personally as well if they so choose. But there's no pressure to invest. If you think that this is a good opportunity and you like the deal, then that's the individual's call.
So from what I understand, the Buffalo Angels are openly, actively trying to recruit new folks to come into and increase the fund, correct?
Sure. We have a couple different aspects to how we work. We started out as a network, a bunch of people attending the meetings, working together, and each person would make their own decision whether they want to invest or not. So it resulted in high degree of variability, from a company standpoint who's looking to raise money. If two people said they were interested at 10,000 each, it's not a lot of money. So we formed a fund a couple of years ago where we actually had to go through the fundraising process ourselves. Legal documents, private placement memoranda, and we raised $1.2 million from 39 individuals. They bought units in the fund. So now the fund will typically invest $75,000 in any company if the majority of the members vote yes, and then alongside that, individuals can make their decision. So we generally, when we do invest in a company, it averages about $200,000 together. We've had a lot of new members join the network portion and saying, hey, we'd like to be part of the fund as well. So we have decided we're going to reopen the fund to new members. So we're now going through another private placement memorandum, which will be out hopefully within the next week or so. And individuals will be able to buy additional units in the fund. They won't be investing in the existing portfolio, but going forward, the existing members, the remaining money in the fund, along with new money raised by the new members, will be voting together on new deals that we're seeing at the Buffalo Angels.
So bigger and better then, huh?
That's the continual progress. I mean, I think Buffalo is kind of a slow and steady growth kind of town when it comes to real estate and other things, and I think we just try to keep better. Well, we follow the process. We're going to we keep trying to working to improve our due diligence, increase the number of members. We think that we're fairly sophisticated for angel investors. We're members of the National Angel Capital Association, so we know best practices and we follow those. We're always co-investing with others. I mean, we're not competing with other angel groups or with venture capitalists for deals. There's more, companies need more money than we are going to invest in any particular deal. So we're always collaborating with others as potential co-investors.
But it's important that an organization as organized as you guys are kind of there for the startups here locally in Western New York, because at least it's a early enough resource for these companies to find out if, they're serious and also if they can succeed, right?
That's right. And that's a big part of my job. I'm kind of the first point of contact. So, I will work with companies to, determine, because first of all, you need to have the right information to provide. You have to, make sure that your pitch deck and your pitch provides the information that investors need to see. You need to make sure you've got, the other information. If people are interested and they say, well, let's go on to that next step, do you have, the business plan? Do you have the financial projections? Do you have the customer list, the things that, we'll look at in due diligence? So I'll work to prepare them. And, probably the most common thing that I'll say to companies when I'm talking to them is that, so the answer is not no, but it's not yet. So you need to, it's not just about a pitch, it's about the company and the underlying company. And sometimes you need to do some things to advance it along, reduce the risk so it gets to the point where, investors are ready to say yes.
Is the organization or the members of the fund, are they eager? Are they excited about what they're seeing in Buffalo? Are they really optimistic about the trajectory we've been on the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think they are. We can't be accused of irrational exuberance, but I think people are in it because they want to see the new exciting companies that are happening here in this community, and we are seeing them. We're never overwhelmed. I mean, we have a pipeline that and that's part of the challenge we have is that given limitations of money and time. We can't, be looking at every deal at the same time. So, sometimes companies do need to wait before they can get before the group. But I think, our investors are pretty excited. Knock on wood, we've got a pretty good portfolio that we've invested in over the last few years that have, has got some nice potential, and we're optimistic that we can help the community do some good things.
What since we're kind of trying to educate people on the concept of angel investment, what kind of expectations should they have for when companies make that next step? So like they've exited out of kind of the angel phase of things and maybe are doing a Series A, or they win a competition like 43 North. Like, can you kind of talk to that a little bit more?
Well, yeah, it is. There are multiple stages. So typically, you do see companies. It's some founders' money, friends and family. Maybe they want a research grant. Usually, the angels don't come in when it's just an idea or a business plan and a smart person. The angels come in after the friends and family, and if we've really done our job well with the company, they've got enough money to hit some meaningful milestones, that once they've hit that, the potential is clearer and the risk is more manageable, so they are prepared for that next round of money that they're going to need to start to really scale the company up and grow it more. So there's usually a series of funding rounds, and that's something that our group also needs to be prepared to do, is that if that next round comes, we try to kind of keep some money in reserve. We don't put all our potential capital in the first round with the company, so that we can participate when they need that next round, hopefully to fund growth. Sometimes it's kind of, it's taken us longer than we thought, so we're running out of cash, so we need a little more to get to those milestones. And if we share that vision and it looks good, then we'll do that. But it is all about, and an important thing that entrepreneurs need to focus on is that for angels, it is about having an exit opportunity at a reasonable period of time. This may be the entrepreneur's life's work, but it's not the angel's life's work. They are investing in a portfolio of companies, and they need to see that return so that they can reinvest in others. It's kind of an evergreen cycle. So focusing on what do we need to do to bring this company through multiple stages of funding, and hopefully getting to the point where it's cash positive, and then we're positioned for an exit at some point, so the investors can get their money back and a fair return as well.
So you're looking to expand the Buffalo Angels. How can people go through the steps to get accredited properly, and how can they join?
Sure. So the accreditation, we don't do that. That's it's a set of rules by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
For $50, I'll do it. And I'll just say, it looks like you're good.
So in general, $200,000 in annual income, or $300,000 joint with your spouse for the last 2 years, and the expectation that will continue, or $1 million net worth, excluding the value of your primary residence. So you don't need to be mega rich, but you do need to meet that criterion.
I'm sorry, Jack. I've still got wait.
So we got a seat saved for you there.
Okay,
Nate.
I appreciate it.
That's right. And also, we're looking for people who are interested in participating. As I mentioned, it's not as if we provide recommendations and then people just invest. I mean, not everyone is on the due diligence team for every deal, but we are looking for people to be able to contribute their time and their expertise to the discussion, so that working together we can make better deals. But in terms of the process, I usually have a conversation or a meeting with people to explain more about the group and their interests, make sure it's a fit for them. They're welcome to come and attend a meeting and see what the group is like and how we operate, before they decide. Regarding the reopening of the fund, we are going to be having an angel investor information session coming up in the next few weeks, so people can learn more about angel investing, learn more about Buffalo Angels, kind of what's been going on in the startup community here. And again, if it's something that they think would be a good fit and they have interest in moving forward, then we have some paperwork they need to do, but it's pretty painless.
So we're recording this on the 14th of November. We'll release it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So hopefully sometime in December, I think, is probably when an event like that will take place.
That's our target, right?
And we'll keep publicizing that, of course, through 43 North channels, and give the assist to the Angels in the WNY Venture Association.
Great.
So, What else? What else do we miss anything? I feel like we've probably piqued some people's interest who might have some money in their back pocket to join. Or have we gone over the hump? You think you're gonna get some calls out of this?
It's interesting because I do occasionally get a call from somebody saying, I've heard about you folks, but I never called or didn't know how to find out, or they waited till a friend said, hey, I want you to learn more about that. So we are a warm and friendly group. Really are. I mean, people enjoy being with each other. One of the kind of the leaders of the angel community nationally has said, angels do God's work, and for this community, they do. It's kind of a special breed of person who's willing to devote their time and their money to help things grow. So it's an important part of the growth of Western New York. People often kind of confuse venture capital and angel investing, and they say, well, we need more venture capital. The answer is yes, we do, but unless we've got a strong and robust angel community to do that kind of second slug of funding that gets companies hopefully to the point where they're attracted to venture capital firms, it would be a gap if we didn't have more of that in the community.
All right, Jack. Well, if people want to learn more but are sick of hearing my voice, how can they learn more?
They can certainly at any time contact me. Probably the easiest is info@wnyventure.com, or go to our website, wnyventure.com. I am always glad to talk to anybody almost any time about startups and angel investing.
And even if you're, like me, don't have the bank account yet to be an angel, but want to join the West New York Venture Association, you can do that as well.
That's right. Venture Association is not limited to accredited investors. It's kind of a good place to see pitches, learn about the process. Great networking. People always come away jazzed after they come to the Venture Association meetings, and we welcome anybody in the business and startup community to participate.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jack, and we'll look forward to the event for the Angels down the road.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks, Nate.